All right, let's solve a mystery. Imagine for a second you're running the biggest, most successful supermarket chain in your country. I mean, you've gone head-to-head with giants like Walmart and Carrefour, and you won. But then, almost overnight, your profits, they just evaporate. This isn't some business school case study. This is what's actually happening to China's retail titans.
Just look at this number. Seriously, negative 98.51%. That is the jaw-dropping profit collapse that Yanghui Superstores, China's biggest supermarket chain, reported in the first quarter of 2021. I mean, a 98.5% drop, that's not a bad quarter, that's a sign of a potential extinction-level event.
So, that's the big question we're tackling today. What on earth happened? How did these absolute titans of retail, who had perfected the grocery game for decades, suddenly find themselves on the edge of a cliff? Well, it's a puzzle, and we're about to put the pieces together. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the shockwave that hit the entire industry. Then, we'll identify the first attacker, a concept called New Retail. After that, we'll uncover the real motive, which comes down to a totally different way of thinking. And finally, we'll check out the next battleground and find a surprising little glimmer of hope. Okay, let's dive into Section 1, a supermarket shockwave. And we're going to start by investigating what I'm calling the financial crime scene. Because trust me, this was not an isolated incident. What you're seeing here is a total bloodbath. It wasn't just Yanghui getting its profits nearly wiped out. You've got RT Mart, another huge player, seeing its profits chopped in half. And the list goes on. This wasn't just a blip on the radar, this was a fundamental, structural earthquake shaking the entire industry at once. It was a sign that the old way of doing business was officially broken.
So how did this all happen? For that, we need to move to Section 2, the new retail disruption. And to really get it, we have to rewind the clock to 2016, when the first shot was fired in this war.
This quote from Alibaba's founder, Jack Ma, was an absolute bombshell. Think about it. The guy who built one of the world's biggest online shopping empires was basically declaring his own business model obsolete. He said just being online or just being offline was a dead end. The only way to survive was to fuse them together. A lot of people at the time just wrote it off as corporate buzzwords. Boy, were they wrong. So what exactly is New Retail? Well, it's not just a supermarket that also has a delivery app. No, it's a completely integrated system that's built from the ground up around one thing, you, the customer. The physical store and the online store aren't two different things. They're two sides of the exact same coin working together perfectly. And this is where it gets really brilliant. New Retail gives you 4 ways to get your stuff. You can combine ordering in-store or online with either picking it up yourself or having it delivered. Just think about the problems this solves. You see a huge bag of dog food in the store, but you don't want to lug it home? No problem. Buy it there, have it delivered. Or maybe you're rushing home from work. Order on your phone and just swing by to grab it. It just eliminates all these little annoying frictions of traditional shopping. But here's the crucial part. The old-school supermarkets, like Yanghui, they tried to copy this. They launched their own new retail stores, but it was a disaster. Why? Because they just glued on a delivery service to their old, clunky model. It just made everything more complicated and expensive. Alibaba's HimaFresh, on the other hand, started from scratch. They built a system that was completely fused, designed from day one to handle more than 5,000 online orders per store every single day. And if you need proof, well, here it is. This chart is the smoking gun. It shows you the monthly sales per square meter of store space. And look at that. HimaFresh is pulling in over 4 times the revenue of an average supermarket in the exact same footprint. This isn't just a slight edge, it's a total beatdown. And the key is that Hima's physical stores aren't just stores, they're also super efficient warehouses. That is the incredible power of fusing online and offline. So this brings us right to the heart of the matter. Section 3, product focus versus people focus. Why couldn't these massive, successful supermarkets compete, even when they tried? Well, the answer comes down to how they see the world. Think about it like this. Traditional supermarkets are product-focused. Their entire universe revolves around the shelf. Their main question is, how do we sell what's on this shelf? To them, customers are just a series of transactions. But tech retailers like Alibaba, they're person-focused. They ask a totally different question. Who is this customer, and how, when, and why do they want to buy things? For them, a customer isn't a transaction. A customer is a goldmine of data. And they are relentless about collecting that data. When HimaFresh first opened, they actually refused to take cash. Why would they do that? To force every single customer onto their app, linking every purchase to a specific person. With that data, they know exactly who's shopping there, and more importantly, who isn't. Then they can target those non-customers with customized ads. The store is no longer just a store. It's a data harvesting machine.
So, you'd think that getting hammered by new retail was bad enough. But just as the supermarkets were trying to get up off the mat, a second, even bigger wave of disruption was already crashing down on them. Let's get into that in Section 4, the next battleground. Here we'll find a brand new threat and, surprisingly, a model for how to survive.
This new threat is called community group buying, and it's a deceptively simple idea. Basically, a community leader, could be the owner of the little convenience store on your block, starts a chat group for the whole neighborhood. People post what groceries they want, and by buying everything together in one massive bulk order, they get these insane discounts. And the model is just brutally efficient. On day 1, you place your order in the group. On day 2, one big truck shows up and drops everything off at the community leader's spot. Then you just walk over and grab your stuff. What this does is it completely eliminates the two biggest costs in the grocery business, the middleman wholesaler and that expensive last-mile delivery to every single house. The result? Prices that supermarkets just can't touch.
So, things are looking pretty hopeless for the old guard, right? Well, not so fast. Let's take a quick trip to Taiwan to see a fascinating case study of a company that figured it out. Let me introduce you to PX Mart. Now, what's so brilliant about PX Mart is that they were incredibly patient. They knew their core customers were older, moms and grandmas, who weren't super comfortable with technology. So in 2018, they didn't just launch a payment app. They actually trained their cashiers to personally walk customers through installing it and using it for the first time. They built trust, and only after they had that trust did they slowly, step-by-step, introduce more advanced services. And this patient strategy led to their absolute masterstroke, a service called Batch Pickup. It's genius. You go online and buy, say, a whole case of milk at a bulk discount. But you don't actually take the case home. Instead, it's stored digitally in your app. Then, anytime you need a carton of milk, you can walk into any PX Mart, scan your phone, and just grab one. You can even digitally gift a carton to a friend through the app. This wasn't about technology, it was about solving a real human problem, and it completely transformed PX Mart's image, making it cool for young people too.
So, when you boil it all down, what's the real lesson here? The story of China's collapsing supermarkets and the success of PX Mart, it isn't really about technology at all. The tech is out there for everyone. The real, gut-wrenching challenge is changing your company's entire mindset. It's about learning to stop staring at the shelf and start looking at the customer.
And that leaves us with one final massive question. The pace of this change is only getting faster and faster. What we've seen today proves that what made you successful yesterday could be exactly what makes you extinct tomorrow. The battle for the future of retail is on, and it's not going to be won by the biggest companies, but by the ones who can finally learn to see the world through their customers' eyes.